Welcome to Vedic Mathematics basis base classes. We are in phase 6 of this chase. Today in this phase as well, we are at the last lesson. Lesson 36. 36 is about artifices of numbers and dimensional frames. Phase 6 is about formats, values, compendium. In Vedic mathematics, science and technology, the first step which we have taken in the form of the present phase 6 is that each one of us, each sadhaka, to compile formats, values, compendium. Today in this sixth lesson of this phase, lesson 36, the focus is upon artifices of numbers and dimensional frames. In fact, the formats, values, compendium is focusing upon the coordination, interrelationship of artifices of numbers and dimensional frames. Number 1 has single artifice and one dimensional space has a single axis. This single axis of one space and single artifice of number value 1, these are interrelated, interconnected, and it is this interrelationship and interconnection of artifice 1 of number value 1 and single dimensional frame of single dimension constituting a whole dimensional frame of one space. How these artifices and dimensions are interconnected, it is this feature, it is this value which is being availed by Vedic mathematics, science and technology. During previous phases, we have been focusing upon Vedic mathematics, and Vedic mathematics has been focusing upon the formulations and the transcendental code values. Here in this present phase of Vedic mathematics, science and technology, we are focusing upon the formats, values, compendium. Previously, we were compiling our TCV value dictionary of the formulations. Now we are compiling the compendium of format values in respect of the formats. Therefore, values and formats are interconnected. We reach from values to formats and from formats to values. This is a interrelationship of Sankhya Nishtha and Yoga Nishtha. Sankhya Nishtha and Yoga Nishtha complement and supplement each other. Sankhya Nishtha presumes the existence of geometric formats and artifices of numbers are worked out upon those formats. Yoga Nishtha presumes the existence of the values of numbers, artifices of numbers, and works out the dimensional frames in terms of the values of numbers. Therefore, today we shall open a new page in our formats, values, compendium. We shall title it the interrelationship, intercoordination of artifices of numbers and the dimensional frames. Artifices of numbers and dimensional frames are interrelated. These process simultaneously. These complement and supplement each other. Processing in terms of artifices of numbers means we are proceeding along Sankhya Nishtha. Processing in terms of dimensional frames means we are processing in terms of Yoga Nishtha. Sankhya Nishtha and Yoga Nishtha complement and supplement each other. At each processing steps, the artifices of numbers and dimensional frames complement and supplement each other. With this note, let us now take up that there are 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. These are moolank. These are the basic numbers or values. We know these 9 values are in fact single digit values, and henceforth step ahead will be value number 10, which is of a double digit number. These values 1 to 9 are parallel to the numerals, 9 numerals of 10 place value system. Therefore, at the present phase, when we are visiting and focusing upon the artifices of numbers and dimensional frames, then essentially at this stage, at this initial stage, we are trying to reach at the parallel relationship, parallel processing values of numbers 1 to 9 and of 1 space to 9 space. The artifices of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and dimensional frames of 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space, 7 space, 8 space and 9 are to be considered, to be visited, to be appreciated. Now we know that value 1 and 1 space, value 2 and 2 space, value 9 and 9 space. Then let us have a pause here and take note that 1 space body is interval. It is designated hypercube 1. 2 space body is square. It is designated as hypercube 2. 3 space body is cube. It is designated as hypercube 3. Like that, 4 space body is hypercube 4, 5 space body is hypercube 5, 6 space body is hypercube 6, 9 space body is hypercube 9. Therefore, sequentially, from values 1 we are reaching at 1 space, from 1 space we are reaching at 1 space body, and that means we are reaching at this setup of hypercube 1. Then from value 2 we reach at where 2 space, and this takes us to square, and which takes us to the setup of hypercube 2. Likewise at 9, value 9 takes us to 9 space, and this takes us to the representative regular body hypercube 9 as a fourfold manifestation layer. We know that we are actually, the Vedic systems are working out this setup in terms of a Sthapatya ring rod, which is a synthetic setup of hypercubes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Therefore, essentially the values up till 6 values are being availed to reach at the formats, or the formats are rich enough to supply us the values 9 and even beyond that. Therefore, the values range 1 to 9 and parallel spaces 1 to 9 and representative bodies hypercube 1 to 9 are available to us, but as a Sthapatya ring rod we are availing only up till hypercube 6 to make it a format. Now hypercube 6 is a 6 space body, hypercube 5 is 5 space body, it is 4 space body, 3 space body, 2 space body and 1 space body. Now we know that the domain boundary ratio, the hypercube 1 is having 2 endpoints. Hypercube 2, 2 space body square is having 4 boundary lines. Hypercube 3 is having 6 surface plates. Hypercube 4 is having 8 solid boundary components. Hypercube 5 is having 10 creative components, and hypercube 6 is having 12 transcendental components. It is this feature which is being represented in this table to make it a comprehensive view. Therefore, we shall in our compendium as well reach at this particular table. This table in first column mentions 1 space, 2 space, 3 space and up to 9 space. In column 3 are being mentioned the domain boundary ratio. A raised to power 1 is to 2 b raised to power 0 is equal to the length and the boundary endpoints. A square is to 4b raised to power 1 is equal to area and this perimeter consisting of 4 lines. Then step ahead, A3 is 6b square is a volume solid and area, surface area of 6 surface plates. Step ahead, A4 is to 8b cube is equal to that this is hypercube 4, hypervolume 4, and its boundary is a solid boundary of 8 components. Step ahead, when we'll reaching transcendental domain, then hypercube 5 is the hypervolume will be A raised to power 5 and the boundary would be creative boundary of 10 components B raised to power 4. A step ahead, the hypercube 6, the hypervolume 6 will be enveloped within a transcendental boundary of 12 components. That means the 5 space is playing the role of a boundary and has 10 components. So one shall sit comfortably and to comprehend and imbibe this particular feature as a domain boundary ratio. The domain part and the boundary part stand interrelated, interconnected in terms of this formulation, a common formulation: a raised to power n is to 2n b raised to power n minus 1, and n is equal to 1, 2, 3 up to 6. Once we are with it, then we can reach a step ahead. This table is a table of the geometries or versions. When we say that one space with its interval hypercube 1 as a representative body, then it has three versions. These three versions would be: then there is a zero number of boundary components, there is a one endpoint, then there are pair of endpoints, and that way there are going to be three versions. Then when we reach a square, it would be zero number of boundary lines, 1, 2, 3 and 4 boundary lines, is it will making 5 versions. When we are at the cube, we have zero number of surface plates, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It will be making in all 7 versions. Sequentially, at when 4 space will reach it, it will have a 9 versions. Here in 5 space we will be having 11 versions, and in Hypercube 6 we will be having as many as 13 versions. These 13 versions of these bodies, each version is with respect to a specific distinct geometry of particular space. One space is having 3 geometries, and each geometry is having distinct representative regular body of one space. Therefore, interval with 0 endpoints is a representative regular body of a geometry of a 0 signature. Like that, we will be having 13 geometries of Hypercube 6. It is this table. One should make this particular table in one's compendium. Making in first column it is space, in the second column are number of geometries, and in third column are number of versions. So one space with its interval as a representative body, Hypercube 1, is of 3 versions, and these are the representative bodies of 3 geometries of one space. 2 space as Hypercube 2 as square is of 5 versions, and these 5 versions of 2 space or square are the representative regular bodies of 5 geometries of 2 space. Sequentially, 9 space is of 19 versions, Hypercube 9 is of 19 versions, and these 19 versions are the representative regular bodies of 19 geometries of 9 space. Once we are clear about this, once we are glimpsing this setup, then we can understand that the artifices of numbers 1 to 9 and the dimensional frames of 1 to 9 as such are giving us such a comprehensive and such a very rich format of dimensional frames. So artifices 1 to 9 and the parallel 1 space to 9 space with their representative regular bodies Hypercube 1 to Hypercube 9, and these being of the versions 3 to 19. Therefore, we from the artifices 1 to 9, in fact we are reaching up till the 19 versions. These 19 versions that we extend our system. Therefore, in the creator's space, which is the basic space within which gives us 9 versions, and these 9 versions become the 9 versions. These become the artifices 1 to 9. Accordingly, these values 1 to 9 as 9 numerals of 10 place value system become parallel to the 9 versions of Hypercube 4. Therefore, in creator's space, these artifices get coordinated with the dimensional frames. So these 9 versions get as 9 artifices of numbers, get the base of, for geometric base of 9 versions and 9 geometries. Therefore, ultimately, these artifices 1 to 9 take us to a geometric format of a creator's space. It is this attainment, it is this comprehension, it is this reach which deserves to be appreciated and to be comprehended. Once one is comprehending this, once one is appreciating particular this, then one will be visualizing that this particular system of a reach from Vedic mathematics to Vedic mathematics, science and technology as applied values of the pure values. So the numbers, the artifices of numbers and geometric formats have been so beautifully coordinated, interlinked, complemented, supplemented, that the values as artifice in terms of their artifices get the dimensional frames, get the geometric formats, and the geometric formats of dimensional frames get the values of numbers. So values of numbers and the dimensional frames, once these get complemented and supplemented, when these processing go parallel to each other, therefore moving along the values of numbers or moving along the dimensional frames of geometric formats, once it becomes a systematic, single, integrated processing system, then with it one gets a very beautiful, very excellent form of the mathematical system. It is this Vedic mathematical system of pure values bringing us face to face with the parallel applied values. So applied values to pure values and pure values to applied values is a simple phenomenon of reaching from values of numbers to the dimensional frames of geometric formats. So geometric formats to values of numbers to geometric format becomes a very smooth and very natural process. It is this attainment, it is this comprehension, it is this reach of the Vedic mathematics which makes Vedic mathematics, science and technology as a beautiful, excellent discipline of all practical values. It is in terms of it that Vedas are successful, Vedic systems are successful, Vedic mathematics, science and technology is successful to simultaneously chase the sciences of matter, technologies of transformations of matter, and the existence phenomenon of the life. So may it be life, may it be a matter, may it be mundane, may it be subtle. All those things are simultaneously accepting, processing along the formats in terms of values, or values are permitting their chase in terms of the geometric formats. Therefore, students of Vedic mathematics, science and technology shall approach Ganita Sutras by sitting in prayer and permitting the mind to be through the text. After this, one should enter the second phase of transcendental meditation, and in the transcendental meditation one shall sequentially reach at the mathematical domains. Once mathematical domains are attained and the intelligence is permitted to grow along the consciousness field and the unified field is attainable and it stands attained, then in that mathematical mind, when we shall be working as a Sankhyanista and a Yoganista, values of numbers, artifices of numbers, and the dimensional frames being available simultaneously, it is this way that the existence phenomenon within rays of the sun. Therefore, reaching from the one step to any other step of the solar universe, if it is this format is within a reach of a mathematical mind, then a whole of the existence phenomena is within the reach of the students of Vedic mathematics, science and technology. From next, we will be reaching the next phase, and we will be taking up the individual spaces, individual dimensional spaces for the mathematics, sciences and technology. So three-space mathematics and three-space mathematics, science and technology is an independent aspect. Four-space mathematics and four-space mathematics, science and technology, like that. Therefore, from next phase, we will be taking dimensional spaces mathematics and dimensional spaces Vedic mathematics, science and technology disciplines. We will be beginning with three-space mathematics and 3 space mathematics, science and technology, and sequentially we will be reaching firstly up till 6 space, then up till 9 space, and thereafter we will be taking up the solar universe in its complete existence phenomenon with pole star as its origin, and thereafter in terms of that setup we will be reaching the Brahman domain, and once we will be within the Brahman domain, then we of its own would be having a Phillips and a reach in Par Brahm. It would be the beautiful, it would be the blissful attainment. Therefore we should meditate, we should pray, we shall meditate, and we shall glimpse, imbibe and appreciate this TCV dictionary formulations and formats values compendium. Once these two documents are ready, once these exercises are there, then these will become our reference points, and with these references we will be up to dating up to our pause here. And in the background of these values, let us see that how the artifices of numbers are coordinating and getting formatted, and how the formats, dimensional frames are manifesting and are getting coordinated parallel to the values of the numbers. Therefore, let us revisit numbers 1, 2, 3 and up till 9. Now, these are the 9 numerals of 10 place value system. Therefore, this takes us to the boundary, the creative boundary of 5 space. 4 space is having 9 versions. These 9 versions are taking to 9 numerals, and these 9 versions transit and transform into a creative boundary of 10 components. It is this transition from the expression of 9 versions of Hypercube 4 to 10 creative boundary components of transcendental domain. It will be in that this creative boundary of 10 components, with each component as of 9 numerals, is manifesting a 10 place value format. It is this manifestation of a 10 place value format in terms of 10 creative components of the boundary, with each creative component being of a 9 versions. So these 9 versions parallel to the 9 geometries range of 4 space, giving us the arrangement, coordination of the 9 numerals. So artifices of first to 9 numeral go parallel to 9 versions of Hypercube 4, the 9 geometries range of 4 space, and these 9 versions ultimately transit and transform into a creative boundary of 10 components of a transcendental domain. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. Therefore, the artifices of numbers get coordinated as place value systems. The dimensional frames get coordinated as creative boundaries with each component being of a particular versions. Therefore, the reach for the dimensional frames as manifestation of the boundary, and each component of a boundary being of a particular number of versions of parallel to the geometries of that particular space. Therefore, artifices getting coordinated as place value systems, and dimensional frames manifesting as the boundaries, and boundaries splitting into a number of components parallel to the geometries range of that particular space. It is with it we will be actually transiting and transcending from the sequential progression rule of Ganita Sutra 1 coupled with the symmetry rule of Ganita Sutra 1 to Ganita Sutra 2 Nikhlim Navasta Charmam Dashata, which is the 10 place, this is of the format of a 10 place value system, and Shishyate says Sangya is of the remainders. Therefore, Ganita Sutra 1 together with Ganita Sutra 1, when transits and transforms into Ganita Sutra 2 along with Ganita Sutra 2, then the whole of the transition process of reaching from coordination format of the artifices of numbers and values of the manifestation of the dimensional frames, these run parallel to each other. It is this reach of the Vedic mathematics of the Ganita Sutras that the Vedic mathematics, science and technology is successful to work out the processing systems simultaneously with artifices of numbers and dimensional frames. As such, we shall revisit Ganita Sutras, and from there we should revisit the Sthapatya Miring Rod. Therefore, the Sthapatya Miring Rod and the Ganita Sutras rules, when ultimately are taken to the individual transcendental code values of the Devanagari alphabet, then whole system gets unified. It is this unification which deserves to be comprehended well, and it is here we will see that this triple of 1, 2 and 3 and the parallel, the geometries of Eurospace is this space giving 3 geometries, here 5 and here 7. Therefore, this is a unique triple of consecutive odd numbers. It is unique as each of them is a prime. Therefore, it is a unique primes triple, which is parallel to the geometries of 1, 2 and 3 space. Therefore, geometries of 1, 2 and 3 space as 3, 5 and 7. So this unique triple of values 1, 2 and 3 leads to the another unique triple of 3, 5 and 7. Therefore, with it we can see that this pair of triples give us 1, 2, 3 and 5 and 7. This gets, we reach at these 5 numbers range, and here we will be, it will be appreciable to see that 2 space is having 5 geometries range, 5 space is having 11 geometries range, 11 space is having 23 geometries range, and then a step ahead it is we reach at 47 geometries range. So it is the only set of range, it is set of 5 steps long. So from 2 space we reach at 5 space as geometries range. From 5 geometries range to 11, there is no other sequence which will be taking us to these values, this uniqueness, and this pair of uniqueness systems of 5 steps long ranges. When will be worked out, we will see that we will be reaching at a complete, exhaustive, unified processing format parallelly in terms of values of numbers and artifices of numbers and the dimensional frames. And it is this reach which will help us ultimately perfect our comprehension of our solar universe in terms of Vedic mathematics, science and technology. So from next phase we will be taking up individual dimensional spaces and their sciences and technology. So 3 space Vedic mathematics, 3 space Vedic mathematics, science and technology will be taken up in the next phase. It would be followed by 4 space, 5 space, 6 space. Thereafter we'll reach up till 9 space, and then we will have a Parabram, the power, excellence, blissful reach. Thank you very much.